Hello, my name is Sarah, and I am a 42-year-old, originally from Houston, Texas, happily married with two sweet teenagers. Life has not always been easy, and honestly, it has been an emotional roller coaster ride since the day I was able to be conscious of my surroundings as a child. I decided to create this channel to share my stories with you and share experiences that have helped me reflect and heal from life's shortcomings. My children are my world, and nothing hurts more than knowing there are other children and adults out there that had to or are enduring with the mess of unhealed parents and guardians carry. Sadly, I hear about the challenges my 14-year-old daughter's friends and classmates face with their families. The vicious cycle of the ego is preventing individuals to live in harmony and appreciate the present moments and the souls around them. We all carry an ego, and it is an accumulation of experiences and perspectives that we obtain since the day we have been able to communicate with our conscious and subconscious. Everyone may witness the same situation, but the experience we carry out of it will be different for each individual. The perspective from each witness is real, is different, is their reality, their truth. Although we disagree to what was experienced, we can agree that we cannot control the feelings and the emotions of everyone. The experience is owned by the individual, the bystanders, the victim, the perpetrator, the eye of the beholder. It's their reality, and we cannot change their experience, but we can help them let it go. As the saying goes, you don't know what battles the individuals are going through. With this, I want to have the opportunity to voice these experiences and hopefully help some of you who are going through similar experiences. Channel your inner subconscious and conscious towards a positive direction. We all deserve peace, and we all are valued on this earth as long as you live in truth. To clarify, I am not a certified therapist, psychologist, or psychiatrist. If you have challenges facing or overcoming negative experiences, please seek a specialist to help and guide you. There is no shame seeking help. It does not mean you are crazy, weak, or immature. If anything, to make a conscious decision to seek therapy is intelligence. To have the courage to seek therapy is strength. A mature being is responsible for their well being and health. I am currently going to a therapist and I love him. I've seen many psychologists, social workers, and psychiatrists and therapists throughout my time in my military career and hardly ever felt heard. It is important to seek a well respected therapist that you resonate with and feel comfortable sharing your experiences with. I was lucky to have seen a social worker in the Air Force during my time in North Dakota to explain how my brain processed information and my experiences. And now, with my current psychologist in my life after the military, who is an old gentle giant and has helped me through trying situations in my recent life. A way you can see if a therapist is worthy of your time is by reading the online reviews. My recommendation is if the rating is less than 4 stars out of 5, then there are better options in your community or area of residence. For those that are not sure what the difference is between a psychologist and a psychiatrist, let me explain. A psychologist is only trained to assist with mental health issues. The array of mental health is not limited to negative experiences, depression, and/or anxiety. Psychologists can assist with individuals with ADHD, neurodivergent individuals, and individuals with addictions. Anything related to assisting individuals in processing experiences, emotions, and reflections in a healthy, safe way, that is what psychologists can do. Psychiatrists can also assist with all these mental health challenges, but not only that, they also are able to prescribe medications based on the mental health diagnosis. A psychologist can determine what diagnosis you have, but they are not able to prescribe medications. The difference is that a psychiatrist not only has completed their education in psychology, but also attended medical school with knowledge and understanding of the human anatomy, human biology, and medicine. If a psychologist recommends medication, then that information should be passed on to your primary care doctor for a prescription. Only doctors and psychiatrists have the authority and experience to prescribe medications for patients that require it for treatment. With this valuable information, I will share my first story with you. Many may resonate, some may not. For those that do not, consider yourself lucky and in a good place. For those that have similar experiences, I wish healing for you, a loving network community, and a safe place where you can thrive. It was Mother's Day, and my husband and I decided to visit his mother in hospice. The night before, he received a call from the nursing staff that his mother was having a panic attack and was not consciously there. Matt had given the okay for the nursing staff to administer additional pain medications and sedation. My mother in law was battling lung cancer that had metastasized throughout her body. On Sunday, we went to see her thinking she would wake up from her panic attack. She was sedated but somewhat awake. It felt as if she knew we were there, although we whispered in her presence. She attempted to fight the final stages of death. She was a day away of passing. Although she could not speak, she was able to somewhat move her hands and feet. Her eyes were closed and her jaw had dropped, a sign that death was near. Her mouth was wide open. She was breathing and wheezing somewhat, but she kept twirling her feet. It's as if she was letting me know, hey, I'm still here. I can hear you. I'm still here. As soon as I placed my hand on her leg, she calmed down. During her waking life, she made it clear to me that her fear was dying alone. The panic attack stemmed from whatever internal battle she was facing throughout her life, and her anxieties and fears were unleashed on us since we let her in our lives, but channeled her resentments mostly on her only lonely son, Matt. For whatever reason, he was the target. She heavily relied on and depended on him. She had no one. She burned bridges and lied throughout her life and to others. During her time living near us, she knew she could not make up for her mistakes. At age 68, and the rate the cancer was spreading, it was only a matter of months, weeks, and even days before her death. Even within those months, she couldn't admit or apologize that she fucked up. Her ego was stronger than her maternal instincts, and her ego won, but she lost. She lost me, she lost Matt, and she will lose her grandkids when we tell them of her deceitful practices. Because one thing our family does not tolerate are lies. Matt did not want to wake his mother up that day or wait to see her wake up from the sedation. We had seen this before during her palliative care when we attempted to care for her in her apartment. It was overwhelming and out of our abilities to keep her pain free. We are not medics. Although I worked as a medical administrator throughout my career in the U.S. Air Force, I have no knowledge on administering medications. During palliative home care, my mother in law ripped the IV connection placed on her stomach during one of her panic attacks. That was enough for me and Matt to make the decision on her behalf to send her to hospice. It was the best and dignified decision for my hubby to make for his mother. Although she was against it and wanted to die in her apartment, we made it known to her that her panic attacks were too much for us to handle. The day she died was the following day of this past Mother's Day. It was surreal. Matt was called at work, and I was out at my cardiology appointment. It wasn't until I got home when I saw a message he had sent to his family in German that said his mother had passed. I went immediately to the hospice and coincidentally met with my hubby there when he arrived. We were escorted by staff to her room and left there alone with her. My heart broke. Seeing a son see his mother's body. She stopped breathing about an hour prior when my husband received the call from the staff. But all the blood flow was sinking down to the bottom of her body. She laid on the bed with a rose and some small white flower bouquet provided to her, with her hands holding the flowers. Her lips were pale and discolored. Her jaw was wide open and her eyes were closed. We couldn't be there when she passed. At least one of the volunteers at the hospice was with her during her final moments. She didn't die alone, but not with her son physically present as she desired. That day was filled with all kinds of emotions. It was relief, grief, sadness, and somewhat anger. The hospice provided a Catholic vigil. Her only two friends appeared and a distant family friend. From there, we packed our belongings in her room and left home in disbelief. I had witnessed death of my four cats. Matt has witnessed the death of his favorite uncle, his brother, and now his mother. That Monday, my daughter had left for her school trip to France. She was excited about going, and we asked family and her brother not to tell her or inform her of her grandmother's passing. My daughter was aware her grandmother would pass any moment, but we didn't think it'd be this fast. The following day, we decided to clean the trash out of her apartment and take some of our belongings that we lent to her. I also wanted to search for some pictures to keep and pass down to her grandchildren. During our second final round of searching for our belongings in her apartment, we noted 3 boxes in her storage room of the apartment. Initially, Matt thought it was junk, but when I opened the box, I saw photos of his brother and of his mother. I knew this box had some pictures worth keeping, so we decided to bring them up to her apartment and look through. But with this action, me and Matt were overwhelmed with anger. His mother had 3 boxes filled with organized binders and paperwork with false identities. She lived a life scamming agencies and companies using her dead mother's name, her dead son's name, and 2 other false identities. My hubby was distant with his mother. I never understood why during the beginning of our relationship, and we've been married for 17 years. I had a close relationship with my mother at the time and felt that he should have one too. Because of my insistence and the birth of my children, he allowed her back in his life. And of course, this relationship came with some drama. She was not the center of the world, she'd throw fits. She felt the need to compete with me, although there was no battle to fight, as I'm her son's wife. She was fighting with herself. Matt's parents divorced when he was a teenager. Their constant arguments and split deeply wounded Matt and his little brother. They were constantly used to be the messengers of negative news and revelations between both parents. Both parents accused each other of cheating and lying. Sadly, the truth weighed more with the father in law, as the mother in law was caught with shortchanging landlords and stealing furniture, along with incurring debt under her dead son's name. There were services provided to her address at the time under her disabled son's name. She attempted to forge my hubby's signature when he was 15 and take credit money under his name. Luckily, she got caught, and Matt threatened her with a lawyer to handle her lies. She could not believe her own son would do that to her and did not speak to him for years. Fast forward to 2006. Her second son had passed away from abuse of alcohol and pain medications. I personally feel he suffered depression from both his parents' neglect, more so from his legal guardian than his father. In the small villages here in Germany and close communities, it is custom that neighbors, friends, and residents donate money for the cost of mortuary affairs and burials. On top of this, Germans pay taxes to receive some monetary assistance from the government. Of course, siding with the mother, everyone donated to her. As soon as her son was buried, she disappeared and moved to southern Germany, where her father resided at. There was no trace of her when the authorities were searching her for the abuse of government funds. My father in law paid the services provided for his son's funeral and never looked back. Some days after his son's passing, Matt went to check his brother's mail at his apartment. There were letters from agencies of past due payments and a court order for jail time for his brother. My father in law and Matt were in disbelief. This selfish coward, who had full custody of her disabled son, abused of his situation and incurred debt under his name. There was nothing that they could have done in 2006. She had fled and was nowhere to be found. Matt did not have any connection or relationship with any of her brothers, her father, or family members from that side of the family. She didn't allow it. Until we had our beautiful children in 2008 and 2009, she reached out to her only living son to start building a relationship. It wasn't easy, but he attempted to give her the benefit of the doubt in hopes to get her side of the story of what really went down before and at the time of his brother's death. She left this world with truly no accomplishments. In trying to be optimistic, there isn't anything that I can think of that would be something I could brag about to her grandchildren, other than she got away with criminal activities. She was selfish, did not think about her children, and didn't even give a fuck about her living son. She was dating young men, the same age as Matt, when she was in her 40s. She was caught stealing cigarettes at the age of 50. This was at the time, around the time that my children were conceived. This woman was up to no good. And as much as I wanted to open my heart to her and reach out as a mother to another mother, she was not a mother, just all ego. On paper, she was listed as a mother. On their birth certificates, she was a biological mother. But her heart, her actions, and her priorities revealed she was not ever ready to be a mother. She thrived on the sympathies of others with the loss of her son. Never did she praise her son, her living son, or consistently tell him that she loved him. It took this cancer diagnosis and her lifespan notification for her to tell her son she loved him. It was hard watching my hubby look at the dead, silent woman before him on Monday. She lay there with no apologies, no revelations, no say in what she has done. She knew she would never win her living son's heart. In Instagram, there's a post asking individuals if they could pick their mom, would they pick the same mom again in their lives? I asked Matt to see how he felt, and his response was yes. His mother was his grandmother. Now, that woman, now that woman has my heart, my tears, and my love. The little time I got to spend with her was enough to know she was someone I embodied and admired. She could not communicate with me, and I couldn't communicate with her either, but we understood each other, and she was the most loving, attentive Oma that I wish my children could have. Sadly, their Oma and Abuelita are straight trash, and I am saying it with my chest out. They are dishonorable, selfish women that have undermined other beings, and to me, that is enough to cut ties, cut links, cut the cord, and disassociate from them. My hubby cried to me that Monday evening after his mother's death, asking me to speak to my mother again before it's too late. But honestly, I don't know who my mother is. This is a story for a different time. After finding out how much in depth deception, lies, and identities his mother had, he doesn't feel much for his mother now that the week has passed on. Just as I don't feel anything for mine either after finding skeletons in the closet back in 2020. These boomers have gone through some heavy fucked up events in their lives. Women have endured so much abuse that it is sickening and sadly for their time. They did not have the resources that we have in our day and age. My mother in law was a victim of sexual assault from her father. My mother was a rape victim during her journey to the U.S. from Mexico. She was a victim of the U.S. arming the wrong government in El Salvador during the Cold War era in the late 70s. The U.S. armed some countries in Latin America to assist in warding off Russian influence, just like they did back in the 70s in Afghanistan. With going into the unknown territory and new experiences as a 24-year-old, my mom was led to being in an abusive, dark, demented relationship with a narcissistic criminal. If all my 27 half brothers and half sisters could write a book about this man, there would be a witch hunt for him. My daughter yearns for a grandma and grandpa. She yearned for a beautiful relationship that she sees other girls have with their grandmas. Why can't she have this? Only one normal grandparent, and the rest are dishonorable, mentally disturbed grandparents. How is it that Matt and I came out to be normal, respectable, tax abiding citizens, but are able to provide each other and our children a safe, tranquil, stable home? I told my father in law, I will be damned if I find out that he has skeletons in his closet. In my heart, I don't think he has any. He was wild as a young man, but who wasn't? I made it clear to my hubby and the fam from his father's side. If I find out that my mother in law used any of my or my kids' identities, I will dig her grave up, take her urn, and throw that shit in the dumpster. I ain't playing. Her dying wish was to be buried with her son. But if she used my children's names for her carnal benefit, I will throw her ass away. All my life I've been lied to and deceived. I have no room in my heart or in my children's lives to go through this. You can never forgive and you can never forget the pain people have put you through. You can let it go. On Friday, my daughter returned from her school trip from France. I avoided to tell her during our drive back home of her Oma's death. Matt wanted to tell her. We gave her a chance to bring her luggage to her room and settle down. After about 5 minutes, she came to the kitchen and her father told her. She burst down in tears, and I cried, witnessing both my hubby and daughter crying, while my hubby embraced his daughter. I wrapped my arms around both of them and told them she was in a better place. She is at peace. On Saturday morning, my hubby was skimming through the mother in law's phone to see if there were any contacts that she had that may need to know of her passing. Then he came across my daughter's text. It was 5 p.m. Friday when she texted her Oma, I love you. Matt asked me what time did we get back home from school yesterday, that Friday. I told him around 3 to 3:30ish. Why? Then he proceeded to tell me about our daughter's text. That brought me to tears and every single emotion that I had for this woman. My daughter deserves so much from this woman, and she could not give my daughter an honest, decent life. My kiddos were taught values from various child care workers, teachers, and especially from myself and Matt. They were military brats and have been to 3 different locations. How would my daughter react at age 20 when we revealed to her what her Oma did? Who was she? I can only hurt knowing that my daughter would be confused and heartbroken, that she was the only innocent, naive being that held Oma on a pedestal. Letting go is either focusing on things that bring you joy and pleasure. Letting go is disconnecting and cutting means of communication with individuals that hurt you. I promise this brings peace, and I wish I would have trusted my hubby to cut that communication with his mother. The crap he is going through was not worth the relationship he had with his mother because there really wasn't one. All she did is criticize others when really she was the garbage that she was talking shit about. It's as if she had multiple personalities or was empowered with getting away with deceitful practices. And she caused even more pain to her son than she did win his heart. He knew something was not right with her, and in the end, he was right. It's sad he had to find out during her hospice stay and after her death of what her true colors were. If you are going through pain, please heal. These children, the family around you, your friends and acquaintances don't deserve any pain or hurt from you. There is no reason for you not to heal. The only thing keeping you from healing is your ego. Let that shit go, and you will see where life leads you. Of course, protect your space and family and vibrations, but don't unleash your unhealed wounds and anger and sadness on others. We don't deserve any of it. With this, I wish nothing but strength, courage, and patience during your journey to find peace and happiness. God and the universe be with you and light your path.